Guys, thanks so much for joining us. So today we decided to do a little head-to-head test with a variable of loft and CG location. One of the things that as fitters we always try to kind of explain to our customers is that the loft doesn't always necessarily tell the whole story with regards to ball flight. Right. So, we're always saying, you're taking two 10.5 degree drivers. They're not exactly the same. Just because the loft is the same, you can't expect them to perform the same.
For example, someone came in and tested these two drivers, a G400 Max and an M3. They're both 10.5, just the ones I have in my hand.
That's right.
And they think, okay, they should fly a similar launch angle.
Correct.
And maybe spin rate.
Exactly. And that, it does come down to, the point of us doing this type of video is for you guys so that when you're either going out to buy a driver, you've decided, okay, I've been fit before and I kind of know roughly where I'm at, I'm going to go buy one. Or when you go and get fit, understanding why the ball flight is changing, even with sort of the same loft, why one is high and one is low. So it's to educate you guys and help you with that a little bit more. So what we decided to do was take the driver we perceive to be the highest launch, highest spin, and the sort of lowest launch, lowest spin. So we've got G400 Max versus TaylorMade M3. Now, M3, we have to say the CG is adjustable. All right, we do have the weights kind of forward and back. So we've pushed them all the way forward for the purpose of the test.
And we've seen that makes a massive difference. So we're looking at, for all intents and purposes, the CG is quite a bit back this way on this driver. And the opposite, it's much more towards the front of this driver.
Gotcha. And guys, for those of you, most of you will know this, or a lot of you will certainly know this, but the reason you would want the CG to be forward versus back, it's mostly whatever you're looking for the driver to achieve. So CG being forward, it will be to kind of lower launch, lower spin, and reduce a little bit of face rotation.
Gotcha.
Then with this guy being further back, main reason you would want to do that is increase MOI.
Okay, so the resisting of this twisting motion.
So if you hit one off center, you're going to get a little more stability the further back the weight is in the head. And also to basically launch it a little bit higher and spin a little bit more, which is part of being more forgiving. I'm going to say that, and we'll actually show you this in the test. Moving that weight back so that if you do hit one off center and it spins a bit more, well, it's going to mean your ball goes less offline.
And we saw that big time.
That was basically what we saw as the net result of the test. So exact same shaft, Matt's TPT 15 series. So we used that, kept exactly the same. So we had the TaylorMade coming out just about 13 launch, and actually the Ping did as well. Right around 13 launch on both.
And before we go any further, this was set at 11.5 degrees.
11.5, so we turned both up one.
So 11.5 on the M3 and 10 on the G400 Max. So we had an extra degree and a half of loft here.
Exactly. So we had more loft in the TaylorMade, less loft in the Ping.
And which to most people, myself included, I would have expected to see this one spin more and launch higher. And that's not at all what happened. That's
it. If you're of the mindset that two lofts, the lower loft one will always launch lower than the higher lofted one, you would think that was going to be the case.
And in the same head, that's certainly the case. Like obviously the 9 degree of this and the 10 degree of this, certainly.
With the same properties, exactly.
But something that's so drastically different. Would you say these are probably about as far apart in CG as you can get?
Gotcha. Definitely, they are the extreme in the head selection that we have in here. That's for sure. Okay. So let's kind of take a look at the results. And so the higher lofted one had 600 RPMs less spin than the lower lofted one.
It was very surprising.
Very surprising indeed. So the Ping was 13 degrees of launch, 2600 spin. If we were looking at someone's ball flight and we're looking to try and make them a little bit straighter, that would be quite a nice scenario.
Nice one,
Yeah, that would be pretty good. So we'd kick the spin up a little bit to minimize the kind of tilting of the spin axis. We would try and keep more vertical spin on it to keep it straight. And that was exactly, I mean, you guys will see it when, obviously see the sort of, picture of both ball flights, but the ping is so much straighter.
Was way straighter, and there were strikes I had with this that felt nice, and I thought they'd be a little bit of a draw, but they just kind of got away from me. They just kind of kept drawing, and that's, as you mentioned, it just that I guess the axis tilt was a bit more violent with less backspin.
Exactly.
And it got away to the right a little more.
It's much easier to tilt that that spin axis with the lower CG, the lower spin driver.
Gotcha.
So let's take a look at the TaylorMade now. So yeah, same launch. So 2,000 spin this time. So 2,600 spin with the ping, 2,000 with the TaylorMade. CG location.
Yeah, really, really interesting that it was that drastic. Even a couple that were a little low on the face of this club, you still got like 2,200 spin out of those ones. Yep. And the slightly higher strikes, we were seeing some in the 18, 1900 range. I am a lower spin player, but for me to pick up what is almost a 12-degree driver and hit a flat ball, it's pretty interesting.
Well, that was, we should mention that was the reason we went with both of these drivers and actually turned them up one, because the 9-degree ping we thought would actually be too low in loft for you.
It was a good, it would probably be it would already have been a low spin fit for me. Yeah, so we didn't want to make it too silly the other way to make it hard to read the data.
Exactly, so we thought that for you, because you do play a 10-degree driver normally.
And I opened it just a bit.
A little bit open. So we thought going with 10 and 11.5 as the test was going to be the best sort of comparison for the purpose. But I mean, the distance wasn't really all that different. You gained 4 yards of carry, 4 yards actually overall.
Total,
4 yards carry and total. But you sacrificed, let's have a little look on the table here, you sacrificed a whole lot of accuracy. You were 7 yards average offline with the ping, and you were 21 average offline with the TaylorMade.
I think that was the biggest difference. There were a few that went 315, 320 with this guy. That wasn't going to be possible with this.
No.
But hitting fairways, way more fairways you're going to hit with this. And this is not crazy. I mean, we've already done a similar test where we tested, I think, the Sub-Zero against the ping. That test was purely about dispersion, I think. But this is really interesting in terms of going to pick a loft and knowing, basically this driver plays almost 2 degrees lower than in loft than it actually is.
It's a good way to think about it, actually.
So an 8-degree of this thing would be almost impossible to get off the ground for most people, right?
Yeah, if you're that guy, exactly. If you're a low spin in any way, shape or form, which you are because you're spin loft, and we're going to get into that in a video we're doing later today talking about spin loft.
Right.
Then that just would not be a driver that works for you at all. But the ping would kind of be much more manageable for you with your delivery characteristics, Matty.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. Cool. Guys, the purpose of this, as we said, is to help you think about when you're making your own sort of purchases, not just to trust the loft. As we said, that's the point here. So understand and do a little bit of research on each of the heads and try and figure out if you can, what you can about them in terms of their design characteristics, or even better still, just go get fit for it yourself.
I was going to say, until you really test them out. I mean, you probably could have guessed this for me. You would have known that this. I mean, I know you knew.
We knew that was going to be the kind of extreme case on those two heads. You were going to struggle a little bit with, not struggle because we turned the loft up, but you were going to have way less spin. And I was surprised to see how much it created the kind of left to right curvature for you. Yeah,
I mean, someone who had an M1 or even a 2016 M1, and they wanted to update their driver. They got the same loft in this. This would spin quite a bit less with the weights forward and such. Is it a lower spinning head than their previous generations?
That 2016 M1 was quite low spin.
2016 was low spin.
It was very low spin. That M1's always had that kind of low spin DNA. I felt like last year's was a little bit more stable, the 2017. But this year's is very, very low spin. I mean, it's it does tend to launch up a little bit as well, though, because looking at those. The launch is pretty similar. Yeah, it's a good driver. It's so adjustable, though. It is so adjustable.
That's true. You could really make it work. I mean, that's why you see all the longest hitters that are with TaylorMade, other than DJ, although he kind of seems to switch back and forth a bit.
He's switching his equipment a lot right now. But
it's good for those guys with so much speed because it keeps the spin down.
That's exactly it. Very, very interesting. Yeah, a lot of guys playing M3 this week at the at the PGA, wasn't
including
there?
the winner.
Tiger.
Yep, Tiger.
Koepka, Woodland.
Rory.
Rory, yeah.
Justin Rose plays it too?
Rosie goes in and out. He sometimes has M4 in the bag. Yeah, he does, but I think he's M3 right now. Yeah. Obviously, DJ and Molinari are M4.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting, but it's super popular. Guys, I hope this is kind of giving you a little bit of an insight, just not to trust the loft in the bottom of the head.
That's the bottom line.
That's it. You got to know a little bit more than just trusting the loft, or you're going to get yourself an unfortunate $600 surprise.
Yeah, in either direction, might be way too high or way too low at the same loft.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Good. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you soon.